Hi, welcome back to Biognosys YouTube channel. My name is Monika and I'm a member of Biognosys support team. Today I would like to introduce you to PQ500 Reference Peptides Kit and one of its applications, PRM analysis in SpectroDive, our solution for targeted proteomics. The PQ500 Reference Peptide Kit offers absolute quantification of hundreds of human plasma proteins across several orders of magnitude. This includes FDA-approved protein markers for cancer, genetic diseases, blood, metabolic, and immune system diseases, and many more. It contains more than 800 purified and AAA quantified stable isotope labeled standard peptides that were designed for robust applications in both targeted proteomics and DIA workflows. Stable isotope labeled peptides contain either heavy arginine or heavy lysine. Therefore, they are distinguishable from their endogenous, unlabeled light counterparts. The absolute quantification of endogenous targets can be achieved by comparing their intensities with those measured for heavy channel reference peptides, with known injected quantities. SpectroDive, as well as SpectroNaut, Biognosys solution for DIA proteomics, will automatically calculate the ratio between those two channels and visually display their signals side by side. The PQ500 reference peptides were carefully selected through an experimental process. They were specifically chosen for their excellent performance in proteomic studies, robust tryptic release, and high stability when resuspended in solution. In addition, the PQ500 Reference Peptides Kit contains 11 index retention time calibration peptides that allow the transfer of assays to virtually any LC setup and provide instant quality control results within any Biognosys software. The PQ500 Reference Peptide Kit can be used for absolute protein quantification in the targeted proteomics approaches, MRM, PRM, and SureQuant. Furthermore, combining PQ500 with data-independent acquisition workflows will enable deep insights into the plasma proteome. All of those assays are available in Biognosys software, SpectroDive for the targeted workflows, and SpectroNaut for DIA proteomics. The PQ500 kit contains transition lists and spectral library for method setup and data analysis. Convenient plugins allow seamless integration of panels and library into Biognosys software. Now, let me show you an example of PQ500 workflow and analysis in SpectroDive. A pooled native plasma sample was spiked with the recommended amount of PQ500 reference peptides. Meanwhile, a ready-to-use PQ500 PRM panel was uploaded to SpectroDive, where an unscheduled PRM calibration method was generated. The calibration run was subsequently analyzed in SpectroDive and used for scheduled method development. Thanks to scheduling, the number of targets in one panel can be increased without compromising quantification accuracy. The scheduled method was then used in targeted PRM analysis, where a sample was injected 3 times for each PRM acquisition method compared in the study. Finally, all experimental runs were uploaded to SpectroDive, where a qualitative and quantitative analysis was performed. Now, let's move to SpectroDive, where I will show you steps of that workflow and I will walk you through processed PQ500 data. In the Prepare perspective, you can upload a ready-to-use PQ500 PRM panel by clicking the Import Panel link over here. Once the panel is uploaded, you can generate an unscheduled PRM method that will be used for calibration run acquisition. Select the respective option in the Export Method window and use the generated transition list to acquire a calibration run. To generate a scheduled method, you first need to analyze the calibration run in the analysis perspective. Once it's completed, the process calibration file will be visible in the retention time calibration window. Select it to generate a new scheduled analysis method for the selected panel. Now, this method can be used for acquiring your experimental measurements. For a detailed step-by-step introduction to options for the PRM method development and steps in setting up the analysis of analytical runs in SpectroDive, please refer to the link shown in the top right corner. Let's move now to the analysis perspective, where you will see what the processed PQ500 PRM experiment looks like and which information can be visualized over there. Firstly, A run overview will give you information on how many PQ500 endogenous and reference peptides were identified using the given PRM method and what the coverage of the whole PQ500 panel in a given experimental run was. In this example, 622 endogenous peptides were identified out of 804 peptides from the PQ500 panel. On the panel level, a panel overview shows the extracted chromatograms of all targeted PQ500 peptides in a given run. Signals are distributed equally through the entire retention time. Finally, on the peptide level, you can display various information for the light and heavy precursors. The confidence of target peptide identification is color-coded, with green corresponding to identification below a chosen Q-value cutoff. On the right side, we can see a summed MS2 XIC plot. Here you can find the ratio between the endogenous target peptide and the reference cis-peptide. Based on the obtained ratio and the reference peptide input quantity, SpectroDive will report the absolute target quantity in femtomole on the analytical column. Below, the MS2 XIC plot shows aligned XICs obtained for each of the transitions from the PQ500 assay for both light and heavy channels. The reported Q-value shows the confidence of endogenous peptide identification. In the post-analysis perspective, among other information, the analysis overview shows data completeness, where you can see sparse and complete identifications across the whole experiment. In the next graph, you can see how many targets identified in your assay were quantified with CVs below 10 or 20%. The differential abundance node will show the results of the differential analysis performed on the protein level for predefined experimental conditions. Protein quantities used for the statistical test are derived from target peptide quantities normalized by the reference cis-peptides. Proteins that are differentially regulated among compared conditions will be listed in the candidates table and highlighted in the volcano plot according to chosen thresholds for the fold change and significance of the observation. Finally, in the report perspective, you can find detailed qualitative and quantitative information for each of the analyzed precursors. For example, the target to reference intensity ratios and the absolute amount of endogenous peptide on the analytical column expressed in femtomoles. In the description of this video, you will find link to our website, where you can find more information on PQ500 Reference Peptides Kit. You can also apply there for guided trial of Biognosys software. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you would like to watch similar video tutorials in the future, please subscribe to Biognosys YouTube channel. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.